For a long time, Meg Ryan was not just a movie star, she was a feeling, a familiar warmth that drifted through theaters in the late 20th century, wrapped in soft lighting and hopeful music. With her bright smile and disarming charm, she came to represent love itself, gentle, imperfect, and endlessly sincere. Audiences didn't just watch her stories unfold, they trusted her with their own ideas of romance. Yet behind that carefully held image lived a woman navigating expectations far heavier than the roles she played. Fame arrived quietly at first, then all at once, reshaping how the world looked at her and how she was expected to look in return. Every expression, every change, every choice became something to be examined, interpreted, and judged. The simplicity people adored on screen slowly turned into a standard she was never meant to uphold forever. Meg Ryan's story is not merely one of success, nor of controversy, but of contrast between who she was and who she was asked to be, between the laughter that defined her films and the silence that followed her off-screen. To understand her journey, one must look beyond the headlines and nostalgia and return to the beginning, before the smile became a symbol and before the world decided who Meg Ryan was supposed to remain. Long before cameras followed her every move, Meg Ryan grew up in a world that was quiet, structured, and grounded in routine. She was born Margaret Mary Hyra into a middle-class family shaped by discipline rather than glamour. Her father, Harry Hyra, worked as a mathematics teacher, while her mother, Susan Jordan, balanced life as an English teacher and a former actress. Creativity existed in the household, but it was never the center of attention. It lingered softly in the background. Raised in a Catholic environment, Meg spent her early years attending St. Pius X Elementary School in Fairfield alongside her siblings. Faith, education, and expectation quietly framed her upbringing. Yet even within this stable structure, change arrived early. When Meg was just 15 years old, her parents divorced, a moment that fractured the sense of certainty she had known. The separation altered the rhythm of her family life and left an imprint that would follow her into adulthood. Despite this disruption, she did not retreat. Instead, something resilient took shape. Those close to her noticed a growing independence, a quiet determination to define her own path. The world she knew was not one of red carpets or applause, but it taught her endurance. And it was within these ordinary beginnings, marked by structure, loss, and subtle ambition, that the foundation of her future was laid, long before she ever imagined becoming a symbol of romance.
As Meg grew older, her sense of direction began to shift, quietly but decisively. After graduating from high school in 1979, she followed a practical path, enrolling at the University of Connecticut to study journalism. It was a sensible choice, one rooted in stability rather than risk. Later, she transferred to New York University, placing herself closer to the pulse of a city where ambition and opportunity often collided. Still, the classroom never fully held her attention. New York exposed her to a different rhythm of life, one fueled by auditions, small opportunities, and constant rejection. She began appearing in television commercials and minor roles, experiences that offered little recognition but invaluable exposure. Each appearance, no matter how brief, confirmed what she had already begun to suspect. Her future did not belong behind a desk or within the boundaries of a degree program. Just one semester before graduating, she made a decision that would alter the course of her life. She left college behind and committed fully to acting, embracing uncertainty with quiet resolve. Joining the Screen Actors Guild marked her formal entry into a profession that offered no guarantees. She adopted the surname Ryan, borrowed from her grandmother's maiden name, a subtle reinvention that signaled her readiness to step into the unknown. It was not a leap driven by confidence alone, but by an understanding that some paths only reveal themselves once certainty is abandoned. The early years of her career passed without spectacle. Meg Ryan moved quietly through small television roles and modest film appearances, learning the rhythm of the industry from the margins. There was no instant recognition, no dramatic arrival. Instead, there was patience. She observed, adapted, and refined a natural acting style that felt effortless, even when the work itself was not. Casting directors began to notice something uncommon, an openness that made her feel familiar, almost real. That quiet momentum reached a turning point in 1989 with When Harry Met Sally. The film did more than succeed, it transformed her life. In the role of Sally Albright, Meg revealed a balance of wit, vulnerability, and emotional precision that audiences immediately connected with. She was not distant or untouchable. She felt like someone viewers already knew. The now iconic diner scene became a cultural moment, but it was the sincerity beneath the humor that truly defined her performance. Overnight, Meg Ryan became a name spoken with affection. She was no longer simply an actress building a career. She had become a symbol of modern romance. The success opened doors few could resist, yet it also quietly closed others. The industry embraced her warmly, but in doing so, it began to shape expectations around who she should be. What felt like a rival was also the beginning of a role she would be asked to play far beyond the screen.
The 1990s unfolded as a period of remarkable visibility. Film after film reinforced Meg Ryan's place in popular culture, especially within stories that celebrated love, timing, and emotional honesty. Movies like Sleepless in Seattle and You've Got Mail cemented her reputation as the embodiment of romance, warm, intelligent, and endlessly approachable. Audiences returned not just for the stories, but for the comfort her presence provided. She became a constant in a decade defined by longing and connection. Yet success came with a narrowing frame. The more beloved her image became, the more fixed it seemed. The industry rewarded familiarity, encouraging her to repeat what worked, to remain within the boundaries that had made her famous. Behind the scenes, this expectation grew heavy. There was an unspoken rule that deviation might risk everything she had built. The very qualities that made her adored began to feel like limitations. Public admiration masked a quieter tension. While her career appeared effortless, she privately questioned whether she was being seen fully or only partially. Each role added another layer to the persona the world had constructed for her. And as the applause grew louder, so did the awareness that remaining the same was no longer a choice she could comfortably make. Stardom had given her everything, yet it was asking something equally profound in return: permanence in a world where change was inevitable. As the years passed, Meg Ryan reached a crossroads familiar to many who rise quickly and shine brightly. The image that once opened every door had begun to feel restrictive. Determined to challenge both herself and the expectations placed upon her, she made choices that unsettled audiences and critics alike. In 2003, she stepped into unfamiliar territory with In the Cut, a film that deliberately stripped away the comfort and innocence associated with her name. The response was swift and unforgiving. Viewers struggled to separate the actress from the persona they had cherished for years. What was intended as artistic risk was interpreted as betrayal by some, and the criticism carried a personal edge. At the same time, public attention shifted toward her appearance, fueling persistent rumors and speculation that she rarely addressed. Silence became her shield, even as scrutiny intensified. Parallel to these professional risks, her personal life unfolded under the same harsh light. Her marriage to actor Dennis Quaid, once seen as a Hollywood ideal, ended after years of strain. Soon after, a highly publicized relationship with Russell Crowe placed her at the center of controversy, altering public perception almost overnight. Gradually, the applause faded. What remained was a woman confronting the cost of reinvention, discovering that stepping away from an image can be far more difficult than creating one. In time, the noise softened. The headlines moved on, and the roles became fewer, chosen with greater care or declined altogether. Meg Ryan began to step back from the relentless pace that once defined her life, turning toward privacy with quiet intention. It was not a retreat marked by bitterness, but a recalibration, an acceptance that the version of herself the world demanded no longer aligned with who she was becoming. Away from constant scrutiny, she found space to exist without explanation. Fame had given her visibility, but distance offered clarity. She was no longer required to represent romance, innocence, or nostalgia for an audience unwilling to let go. Instead, she became something far less visible and far more grounded: herself. The silence that followed was not empty, it was restorative. Today, her legacy remains deeply woven into cinematic memory. The films endure, not because they captured perfection, but because they reflected something honest and human. Meg Ryan's story is not defined by reinvention or retreat, but by the courage to change, when change came at a cost. In a culture that often demands stillness from its icons, her journey stands as a quiet reminder that growth does not always need permission, and that sometimes stepping out of the frame is the most authentic role of all.